So now, let me turn to the man of the hour, Dr. Holland. From Rome High School, he's been with us for a long time in many different capacities. Welcome, Dr. Holland, to the town hall today, and thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks, Adam, for having me. I'm really excited to have this meeting. When Rika sent me the message, I didn't hesitate. I love everything about the partnership, so I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. You know, Dr. Holland was telling me that he was a customer of Kessler Team Sports back in the old days. Kessler was BSN's first acquisition, and he was also, and remains so, I'm sure, a close friend of and partner with Spud Bowen and Herff Jones. So he has had tremendous relationships throughout his professional career with some of our legendary divisions and people here at Varsity Brands. Tell us a little bit more about your background, Dr. Holland. How did you come to Rome and become to be the principal over at Rome High School?
Yes, it has been an amazing story. First and foremost, it's by the grace of God that I'm here. Come from a very unique background, single parent home, landed at Georgia Southwestern in '95 with the hope of being a college basketball player. Had some issues that didn't work out. Ended up starting my teaching career and coaching career in 2000 at Americans High School in South Georgia, in a city school. Didn't know exactly what I was doing. I was put at the alternative school, and they gave me 22 of the worst kids God made. And I was able to get them under control, and every one of them actually graduated, and I was named Teacher of the Year. And the next year I was offensive coordinator in football, or quarterback coach in football. And we won 2 state championships, and I was coaching basketball. And I ran into this lady by the name of Gina Knight. She was with Kessler Team Sports, and I was in charge of the equipment and ordering stuff. And we built that partnership. And I met the guy by the name of Spud Bowen. And I fell in love with Spud from day one. Fell in love with the Bowen family. Ended up 2004 at Turner County High School, and I got my first head job there. I kept the same sales rep with Gina. Made a lot of people mad because we have built that partnership, and she went with me. So I was there in 2004 in Turner County. Spud was there at that time with me as well. Ended up in Tift County in 2009. That's where Spud actually lived. So I ended up in his neck of the woods, and then I met his beautiful family. And Carson and Connor, they turned to be my brothers. And they've been with me ever since. And now I ended up at Rome High School in 2017. I was coaching basketball, and I was administrator. We had a really good run, won several championships playing basketball. But the ultimate goal for me was to be a high school principal at a school where I wasn't wanted, I was needed. And Rome was the place for God to land me at. There's never had an African-American principal here. The school is very diverse, so to be the first African-American principal at a school of this magnitude during Black History Month, as I told you before, is a blessing. But that landed my journey here. The good Lord ordered my steps, and I've been here now for 5 years. And we continue the partnership with VIP Impact Branding, and we are Impact School. And it because of the partnership I built with Spud and Connor and Carson. I had another sales rep named Walt, and I came here with Danny, Keith, Rika, Derek, George, Greg, Megan. All of those people, I met them, and we became first name based people. It's a different relationship when you can talk with each other in first name. But those people have been with me every step of the way, and helped us create an amazing culture climate here at Rome High School that has turned us into, my opinion, the best high school in the state of Georgia, if not the country. They got this thing called Cognia. It's a school accreditation. And if you look at our report, we had the highest Cognia score in the state of Georgia, 381.61. And a lot of it had to do with the partnership that we built with our Impact Branding deal.
That is a pretty fascinating story, and I want to dig into that in just a second here. But I just got to say, we get a chance to have principals like you join us from time to time. And I'm always amazed at the journey and how it starts often in coaching or teaching. And where you started on your story, which is, hey, you had 22 of the toughest kids, and you were able to flip them into kids that all graduated, 100% graduation rate. Mm-hmm. That's making a difference in kids' lives. And people wonder why, government or local municipal government or bureaucracy or politics or whatever hadn't figured it out. It's because people on the ground are making the difference. And so our thanks and our hats go off of Varsity Brands to principals like you making the difference. I mean that for real. You're making a difference that nobody else is making in the lives of these kids and these families. and it puts you in a position to make even a bigger impact in a place like Rome High School. So thank you for what you're doing.
Hey, Adam, and let me tell a quick story about those 22 kids. It was a simple change in their behavior. I called Gina. They all came from the hood, and I remember looking at their shoes. They had terrible shoes on, and obviously they couldn't afford the shoes. But she came in at that time. It was Kessler Team Sports. They donated those 22 kids a pair of Nike sneakers, and those Nike sneakers changed their whole life. They came to school. They did their school, their shoes. They get people didn't joke their shoes. They had this sense of pride. But the fact that somebody thought enough of them to give them something that, culturally where I'm from, if you put on a pair of Nike, Jordan and Kevin Durant and Kyrie, you got Nikes on. It changed their whole behavior, and they took a lot of pride in those shoes. But it was the partnership that I built with Gina during that time to help me change the whole coaching climate of it was called Crossroad Academy at that time. So just that partnership really helped with that situation, those kids.
It's such an important point because we think of branding as school branding and identity branding, but it starts with the kids and the coaches for that matter. And if you can inject, like we're trying to do, and like you did, that kind of pride and enthusiasm into their everyday, so they show up and they're excited to learn. They want to attend class. They want to graduate on time because they feel good about themselves. We can do that with the uniforms, the apparel, the product that we actually make and sell, in addition to the way that we brand schools. So that's really a neat way to kind of patch it together. And there's an example that just showed up on the board here of the way we kind of helped rebrand with your guidance, the Rome High School logo. Talk a little bit, you mentioned the incredible score that you have on that statewide assessment test in Georgia. Talk for just a second about how you view the return on the investment that you've made with us in terms of attendance, graduation rates. Like we always ask ourselves, does impact really work? Does it keep kids in class? Does it help them graduate? Does it help move test scores in the right direction? Talk about your experience with that.
Absolutely. First of all, this before and after picture is so powerful. I had a chance to speak with BSN over at Georgia State. And when I look at these images, I thought about the struggle that we had to go through to move from before and after. But I'm a big fan of Frederick Douglass, and he said the best, without struggle, there is no progress. So this was years of tradition. On the left, the crest, the R, which is really not Rome High School R. If you wiggle on it, it's a Warner Robins R. And then the wolf head. So when I came to Rome High School, the superintendent and I took this journey, and there was 19 different logos, different wolf heads all over the place. And my whole thing is, no one of us is as great as all of us. What can we do to put us all on the same playing field, the same level with that one vision, that one voice? And we said, we got to brand the school. We should be one wolf, one head, one logo. And when people see us, it should say who we are and what we stand for. So we hopped on and we immediately went to the branding piece. Well, why is the branding piece important? It builds pride. It builds energy. It creates that camaraderie amongst the student body. And when I came here year one, we had over 2,000 office discipline referrals. This actually is my coaching climate report. We was able to reduce our discipline referrals almost 80%. So we went from over 2,000 office discipline referrals to right at 700. We got it all the way down to 250. So we was able to constantly create excitement. Our student had choice and voice in how we created these logos, so they got really excited about it. We was able to increase attendance through the Herf Jones class ring program, where we popped up and we did this class ring ceremony. We had presentation. They pulled the big class ring balloon thing out. We was able to create magic there. Kids got excited. Faculty and staff attendance approved through our branding partnership. Danny and his crew was here for our pre-planning lunching, our Christmas luncheon, and our end of the year banquet. So we was able to create another form of energy for our staff. And once you reduce discipline, you create other opportunities for kids. And then the mural, like when you walk down the hall, you'll see, we saw kids taking pictures of the mural, getting excited. We even branded the parking lot. We want them to know when they came inside the school that we was all one wolf, we was all one Rome, and that no one of us is as great as all of us, but we was all in this together. So through this whole process, we was able to change everything about Rome High School. With no change came a challenge. But I tell people first come the challenge, then come the results. So we went through the challenge. Rome High School had these cap and gowns on since the school had been open. They had their business with the same company for over 40 years. Balfour was in here as well. But I tell any principal, you have to be willing to get fired to do what's right for children. And when I came to Rome High School in 2017, I was willing to lose everything that I had worked for. That's why I told you about my journey. So our kids, if you look at those cheerleaders, we can put the smile on their face. We can provide them opportunities that memories that they can cherish for a lifetime. So 2017 to this day, it was all about the kids and making magic happen for children.
Tell you what, that's powerful stuff, and it reinforces the notion that leaders lead, and that seems to be what's going on at Rome High School with what you're doing. You know, you're using BSN, Varsity Spirit, and Herff Jones across your campus. You're a true impact partner with Varsity Brands. What does that mean to your faculty and to your students? I know it enables some of the branding that we've just looked at to actually occur, but what does it mean to your community, your kids, and your teachers?
The biggest thing and the most powerful thing is when we brought those three brothers and sisters together, that family together, it helped us with diversity. It helped provided opportunity for the kid that lived in government housing that couldn't afford the $1,500 to be a cheerleader to cheer. We was able to get the return on investment and create a lesser cost for our kids. We're a Title I school, so we 100% free or reduced lunch. Our kids don't pay for lunch. We're well above the poverty-stricken line, and we're a socio-economic disadvantaged school with a ton of kids. So the biggest thing that when I went through this whole challenge of, we got a local business that's been here for 30 plus years, and you're going to take money away from the local business to sell your soul to a company that doesn't live in Rome and not in here, doesn't pay taxes here. I was willing to do all that because we didn't have a single minority person on our competition cheer squad, single minority person that played baseball, nor golf, none of those types of things. Because number one, they said they couldn't afford it. Number two, that shouldn't be a reason why we're not as diverse as our student body. So when we brought those people in, we was able to create a strong base of funds. We was able to put all our resources in one basket. We got a huge return on investment with funds. We was able to put those funds back into our kids, so they don't have to pay $1,500 to be a competition cheer or $500 or $600 to build a golf team. So that was the number one thing. And then on top of that, our staff, our students, the spirit. When I came here, we lost 7 head coaches, 44 teachers exit out of the building, 33 teachers. So I wanted to create something that would draw people to Rome High School. I wanted to create that brotherhood, that sisterhood, that energy. Like, hey, when you see the bow tie and you see the logo, that's Rome High School. That's the place you want to be. And Herff Jones and Varsity Spirit and BSN were with me every step of the way. So we was able to actually reduce our teacher turnover all the way down to 11%. And our top 50 teachers, we returned all of those even during a pandemic, mainly because just the ability to celebrate them, to show them we appreciate them, but to have true partnership from the people from the outside world that understood, just like now during the pandemic, what we was going through, and said, hey, we know y'all going through something. So Keith and George and Rika, those people, they didn't ask me if I need something. Danny, they sent it. They knew we needed masks. So I looked in the box. I had 500 masks from our partnership to help us with kids during the pandemic. So those things was very powerful to us and to our staff.
Oh, that's great to hear, but important to hear too. You know, we talk a lot about retention in this market because it's so hard to keep great people. And, you know, you're making the right case, I think, which is that with pride in what you do and recognition for the people that are working so hard and contributing so much, that's how you get to those 10 and 11%, you know, attrition rates, is that you're really showing the love for the people that are putting in the work. So that's awesome to hear. It's hard to have these conversations without talking a little bit about COVID, but not so much about, you know, how you made it through, because we've all dealt with it in different ways. I'm interested in, you know, how your school culture and climate that we've hopefully helped you build into a little bit has been helpful in getting through to the other end of this pandemic.
Yeah, so, you know, obviously March 12th, when, we got the news and, this COVID thing was real and we were shutting school down, we didn't know what to do. Obviously, nobody was prepared for a pandemic. So we immediately went virtual. During that time, I can recall getting a call from Danny and Keith, just our partners, and saying, hey, how, this thing is real. What can we do? And they immediately just, provided support. Well, we went virtual for the rest of the year, and then we came back in the fall. We had some kids virtual, some kids in person. But the biggest thing at that particular time, we was preparing for graduation. And the last thing we wanted to do was not allow our kids to have the biggest moment of their life taken away from them. Can you imagine 13 years of work? And I tell people it's 13 seconds to hear your name called to exit the stage has been taken away from you. But we still was able to provide a graduation for our kids. Keith was here in the parking lot dropping off cap and gowns. We have the best cap and gowns in the country. We have the best diploma covers in the country. But more importantly, we was given masks for graduation. They sent those to us because we required our kids to wear masks during graduation. Well, they came up with something that was really cool, really neat. So it's not like they just had on any type of mask. So we even branded our kids' masks during the graduation time. The next thing that really happened, I started at my own house. Social emotional learning was powerful. I got an email, the virtual training with Kevin, getting a chance to meet Kevin, but being able to provide that the social emotional learning for our staff and our students during the pandemic was probably one of the most powerful things we was able to do, and being able to get it for free from our partners and we shared it was very powerful. A lot of our teachers got on, a lot of our students got on, a lot of our athletes was able to watch some of those things virtual with Kevin, and it really inspired us. And then what really came off of it, I had an opportunity to watch Kevin speak live and in living color. And he started asking some really deep questions that touched me, really, really, not as a principal, as a person. He said, how do students support students? And as soon as I got back home, I just heard his voice in my head. We started this Triple S club. It's called Students Supporting Students. And when, our football team showed up to a jazz concert, our basketball team showed up to a soccer event, having students really, really support students during the toughest time of their life has been the most powerful thing that we was able to pull from our partnership from Kevin to help us change the culture and climate in our school, even during the pandemic. As I told you earlier, everything is important that can help you lead a school. And we are in the figure it out business. And that was another great nugget that was shared through this partnership that really helped us help our kid through some of the toughest time. And I got a son that's a senior. To see him lose a season of basketball to a pandemic, or seeing him having to celebrate his sweet 16th birthday at the house with his mom and dad, a 16-year-old kid is not expecting that. That's not what they were looking forward to. But to be able to provide the social emotional learning, which we built into our Wolfpack curriculum here, to provide our kid with some type of support. We started what we call a CAP program, a child advocacy program, where kids can go pick their mentor and get some help where they need it. Was very important. Mental health is real. 14% of our kids suffer from mental health issues. So to be able to have another support system, another opportunity to help our kids has been an amazing blessing for us.
That's incredible to hear. And I hope our teammates from Varsity that are on the call really, this is such a great example of how the work that you're doing out there is actually impacting real kids and a real school and a real situation. When I hear somebody say that 14% of the kids are having mental health issues, and you think about the work that Aaron Hart's doing with social and emotional, the work that Kevin's doing out with the podcast and getting them into the homerooms and talking about anxiety and depression and even bullying and shaming and suicide prevention, people aren't talking about that stuff the way that Kevin can talk about that. And I agree with what you just said. It does touch you, not as a business person or as a leader of a school. It touches you as an individual, because I have kids and you have kids, and we all deal with this stuff. And our families are all dealing with this stuff in school and out of school. And it reinforces for me every time I have a conversation like this, how important the partnerships are and how incredible the work we can do together really is. Let me ask you one more question before we let you get back to your busy day. We've got 2,000 sellers out there across Varsity Brands. If you had to give them one or two pieces of advice on how they can be the best possible support mechanism and arm for either a coach or an advisor or a school administrator, what would you tell them to do?
I'm gonna move a little closer to this one on this question because 22 years in this business and being a high school assistant principal for 18 of them, I see a lot of sales rep come in totally wrong. As a principal, it's a complete turnoff. And I think it's very important that when you come into what I call a person of purpose, some people call them a person of power, that you know who they are as a person before you come in as a salesperson. I give an example. One of my best friends is the principal at Tift County High School. His whole thing is BTTY, better today than yesterday. Walt Foy, who has been a friend to me for many years, was taken over. They had went to Adidas. Dr. Stone was becoming the principal. Obviously, he called me and said, hey, I see all your numbers. I see all the amazing things that you got going on at Rome High School. I'm getting ready to change the coaching climate at Tifton. I need this, this, and this. Obviously, I called Walt. First thing Walt said, hey, I know he got this. I know his wife. I know his kids. What's his What's his thing? So Walt went to the networking tool. His graduation rate, he got on his truck, 90%. Walt went in, had a conversation with Dr. Stone. In the process, he's texted me and said, hey, he knows better today than yesterday. He know about the 90%. He know who my wife is. We got to do business with them. It's very important that you know the person, not the principal. Know what his philosophy is. For me, 22 years, I get a call from Connor Bowen, Carson, Spud, just to say, how you doing? Connor called me yesterday. We have buried 7 students. Hear me closely, 7 students since I've been the principal here. I've only been here for 5 years. Keith, Chip, all those guys have been with me every single time. We lost a senior last year. They canceled his senior debt, so his mom didn't get a bill. They mailed the stuff to her for free, and they hand delivered his diploma. Now, how powerful is that? How important is that? You're not a sales rep when you're dealing with a guy like me. You are a family that just so happened to sell something. When you come into my place of work, it's about the task, not the title. I love the task. It comes with the title. I love the task of being a principal, not the title of being a principal. As a salesperson, I ask you respectfully, do you love the task or you love the title? Fall in love with the task. Because if you fall in love with the task, you are truly, truly out to serve and help and be a part of it. In return, I would recommend any school in the country to you. I got a call the other day, hey, Camden County is on the fence, no problem. I know the soup over there. I know a board member. I'm picking up the phone. I'm highly recommend that Camden be an impact school, that they partnership with VIP because of the relationship. And I tell people all the time, there's a partnership and there's a sponsorship. I sponsor 3 kids to be a cheerleader. They don't give me nothing in return. But when you and I come together, we are a partnership. I help you, help me, I help you. We buy products from BSN. Herf Jones, our yearbook is amazing. It's easy for me to pick up the phone and say, hey man, look at our yearbook. Hey, look at our cap and gown. Hey, look at my bow tie. Look at my shirt. Here's our branding guide. We're one Rome. It's very important when that person that's in that position of power can speak highly of you when you're not in the room. That's what it's all about. Build those relationships to where that guy that got that platform will mention your name in front of people that's looking to make opportunity, make business decisions. And as Adam said earlier, it's a lot of people out here that went from Nike to Adidas because it was cheaper, but cheaper doesn't mean better. We are in a pandemic. I told my coaches, hey, your shoe's gonna be late because everybody's shoes late. But the fact that George is here every day and communicating every single day when they order's late, it alleviates some of the stress. High level communication. The better you communicate, the less the confusion is. You must be an effective communicator, not texting. I teach my son this, I teach y'all this. We call first, we text second. My son can't text the coach and say, I'm gonna be late for practice. He's gonna call the coach. Hey coach, I'll be a little late. Next week I got a dentist appointment. He follow up with a text message. Some of these young people, they'll text you and they'll be standing right next to you and won't communicate with you. The human element is the most powerful form of communication. Last thing, body language. When you come in my office, I read your body language. You better bring some energy. You better be enthused. You better be excited about what you're trying to do. You better bring this energy of excitement, and you better be committed to the task, not the title. So I want to share that with y'all. Hopefully, when you walk into these principal's office, you know who the principal is. It means the world to me that Connor knows my wife. He know my two boys. We Facebook friends. He's messaging me, hey, good luck, EJ, on your region tournament. Hey, congrats. Got a call from Danny the other day. EJ's going to the state tournament. That made me feel unbelievable. Unbelievable that people that I have a partnership with know more about my personal life than my professional life. Do you know who you selling shoes to? I ask that question all the time. Do you know who you selling the yearbook to? Do you know who you selling the class ring to? As a person, not as a principal. That's one of the most powerful things I think a person can do. Adam?
I got to say, I've had a lot of these conversations over the years, and and without embarrassing you, I will just say that you are literally a living example of everything that's right about how to help take care of kids, how to run a school, and how to build culture and climate in a really tough environment. So I just can't say thank you enough, not just for being here, but for what you're doing in Rome, Georgia, and what you're doing and the example that you're setting in your community, particularly amid the journey that you talked about, and with Black History Month being the backdrop for what's going on, in the month of February. Just an incredible example of what leadership looks like. And there are so many things you just said in 5 minutes that every single person in our company, including me, can learn from and try to model and emulate in the relationships that we have at home, in business, and in the school systems. And my challenge and my charge to everybody else that's listening to you today is to take these kernels of wisdom and figure out how to apply them. Figure out how to apply them to your family life, your business life, your work life, and make our communities better with this kind of advice. Dr. Holland, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Adam. I really enjoyed it so much.